Nice to meet you. Enjoy Ibiza. See you later.
You travel the world at the moment, right? How many gigs are you doing this year?
Oh God, I'd say this year probably around 160.
Right, and it's all over the world, right? You're in North America and you're in Europe.
Yeah.
How do you cope with such a huge amount of travel? I mean, the late nights. How on earth do you kind of navigate such a difficult time frame?
It's definitely the most difficult part of what I do. And I have to try and stay in my routine as much as possible. And that's how I keep balanced, and keep a clear and straight head.
Is it really hard having a routine though when you are constantly on the move?
Very difficult. It's a huge challenge. You know, sometimes I'll be so jet lagged and it'll be some crazy time in the morning, but I'll still drag myself to the gym, get my workout in, you know, still keep my food healthy, and just try and always, you know, have that checklist of myself and tick those boxes and keeping that routine as much as I can wherever I am in the world. Also, you know, I don't party much, you know, once in a blue moon. So even though like it might look like, you know, on social media that, you know, DJing here, there, and the party guy, the truth is, mate, after gigs, I'm normally back in the hotel in a bubble bath watching Dragon's Den. You know what I mean?
That's how you unwind. After playing to however many thousands of people, you're going home and watching the Dragons.
Yeah, I love a bit of Dragon's Den. Love a bit of Gordon Ramsay's Kitchen Nightmares. I've been watching a lot of those episodes
I mean,
recently.
you just think you'd want something slightly less adrenaline fueled than like Gordon Ramsay shouting at someone or people getting their business dream destroyed. I'll be watching like a fishing show or something just completely chill.
Maybe I'll give that a go.
You know, when people think of DJs, I think a lot of people will think of the travel, think of the jet set lifestyle, partying the whole time. Obviously, no one really looks like you in your industry. I was hoping you could talk a little bit about bodybuilding and fitness modelling. How did what you went through in terms of contest prep prepare you for everything you're doing? Because it's probably the hardest thing that most people do, getting properly lean. I mean, talking like for a stage. Can you talk to me about how those early experiences of bodybuilding have stood you in such good stead for your hectic lifestyle now?
Yeah, honestly, it was such a benefit for me to go through that process, doing those competitions, because like you said, it is the hardest thing I'll ever do.
Right.
You know, dieting like that, almost starving while training, while working.
Because it's a 24-hour commitment then,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
You can't switch off from that.
And those preps, you know, for the competitions, they'd go on for like 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
And they made me so mentally strong that anything else will never be harder than that. So going back to what you just asked about touring, of like, how do I do it? You know, how can I fly around these many countries and, you know, do these many gigs with this crazy schedule? I think the resilience comes a lot from doing those fitness competitions for that many years,
right,
where nothing will ever be as hard as that. And going through that, it's almost like scarred me. You know, scarred me
in a positive way.
In a positive way. In a positive way. So I look back on that whole era of my life when I was doing the bodybuilding and the fitness as a huge, you know, positive thing for me that I've used later in my life, in my music career and the music industry. That sort of like mental strength and resilience coming from doing those competitions has helped me for sure.
So many people that get into amazing shape or have to diet very, very hard to get to a certain body fat percentage, it's very easy to get caught up in kind of like body dysmorphia or any kind of disordered eating behaviour. Was that anything you ever experienced or dealt with?
Yeah, I mean, probably would say I'd have body dysmorphia to some extent. You know, I think a lot of people that do those fitness competitions probably do, you know, it's part of what drives you, right?
It's kind of like the hidden side of it though, because everyone sees the pictures of people looking absolutely amazing, and I've seen your image and you're still in great shape. Do you look at yourself now and still think, oh, I'm not quite happy with how I look? Or is that something as you've got older, you've been able to get a bit more perspective on?
Yeah, I think as I got older, I got more perspective of it, but maybe in my earlier years, I did always think like, oh, you know, I need to look
that
better.
Bit bigger, that bit leaner.
Yeah, exactly. But like I said, I think that's part of what drives people that do those fitness competitions. But yeah, I mean,
what about the eating side of it? Because when you're counting calories, it can completely mess up your relationship with food. Did you ever experience that? Yes,
I did. And, you know, especially the first couple of times I did the fitness competitions, you know, when it came to like cheat day, I'd always binge and, you know, have these huge binges. And after the competition, I'd have these rebounds that were terrible and gain weight and, you know, it'd all be messed up. And it definitely has affected my relationship with food. But as I've got older, I've definitely got control of that.
Do you still have to work on it? Do you still have to kind of remind yourself that you're eating because you need the food and it's not all about body fat percentage or whatever?
I think how it is now is that because I've done it for so many years, you know, I'm quite strict in my food, and I'm happy to do that. Like, it's not like I'm unhappy, you know, eating my diet.
Yeah.
That's just part of my lifestyle. But going back sort of maybe 10 years when I was doing those competitions, it was a bit, you know, especially post-competition, like I said, I'd go out and just eat everything and be binging, and then I'd go back into the competitions and go on a really restricted diet, and it was very sort of yo-yo.
Roller coaster, right?
Yeah, it was very yo-yo. But now I feel like it's very balanced, and you know, I still go out and enjoy a meal here and there, and you know, I'm not that strict when I did the competitions, but I eat more now just to like keep myself feeling good. When I'm on the road moving around, I'll eat healthy and avoid like junk food and that sort of thing. But every now and again, go for a treat or go out for dinner, it's fine.
Okay. When you look back at that period, obviously it did an enormous amount for your career in terms of your resilience and your work ethic. Can you look back on that period of fitness modelling and physique competition? Were you happy? You're now looking at praising that time, because the reason I ask, so many people look back when they're in the shape of their lives, but they admit to me they weren't happy at the time because it was all consuming, or they weren't happy with their body. Do you look back at that period fondly, or is it something where you realise, if you're honest, you probably weren't that happy in yourself?
No, I would look back on it fondly. For me, it was very competition driven. You know, I was obsessed with wanting to get as shredded as possible.
So when you say competition, were you in competition with yourself in terms of how lean you could get, or did you want to be the best on stage?
I wanted to be the best.
Okay.
I wanted to be the best, man. And I was like, even though I didn't really have like the best genetics, you know, or there was people that had better genetics than me, I just believed I could always outwork them.
Right.
Because I had this obsession in my mind. I was like, well, listen, you might have better genetics or whatever, but you are not going to work harder than me. And you know, I did well in those competitions, you know, and obviously there was a point where I was like, right, I'm going to put this on the back burner now and focus on my music. I kind of achieved everything I wanted to in the fitness stuff. I did those physique competitions and the fitness competitions. You know, I won a few of them, and eventually, you know, my dream was always to get on the front cover of Muscle and Fitness, and I got it. You know, and I feel like once I got that sort of front cover on Muscle and Fitness UK, that was end game for me.
Right.
And I was like, I got what I wanted out of this, you know. You know, fitness to me now is like a hobby. You know, it's just part of my lifestyle. It's not like, you know, I'm not training for a certain, you know, competition or moment like I was back then.
Well, has it transitioned? Because I think for a lot of people, the training and the nutrition is all about physique. And then as you get a little bit older, or maybe something happens, it's much more about a mental health benefit. It anchors your day. Is that something that resonates with you?
100% now. It's much more of a mental thing.
Okay.
You know. Whereas back before, it was definitely more, you know, physical thing, and I wanted to look the best and be the best on stage and win the competitions. Now it's just, it keeps me feeling balanced in life and keeps me healthy and going back to that, staying in my routine and ticking those boxes.
Is that even more important when you travel? Because I know Dwayne Johnson said wherever he's in the world, he gets his workout in, because that kind of anchors his day. Can you identify with that sentiment?
Yep, that's exactly what it is. So that workout for me, going back to me having my daily routine, wherever I am in the world, it's my anchor. So I get in the gym, you know, do my workout, do my cardio, come out of the gym, I'm like, right, box ticked, what's the other tasks I've got to do today? And it's all anchored back to that workout as the first part of ticking those boxes for the day, and, you know, staying productive, staying on my flow. Even sometimes when I feel so tired and I'm jet lagged and I'm literally dragging myself to the nearest gym in some state in America, when I come out of there, I feel like a new man.
Right.
I'm like, right, I'm ready. Like, it's such a mad thing what exercise does to me mentally.